What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. Hey guys, I'm obviously in different clothes and I'm in a different setting, but I wanted to take a quick moment to give a shout out to N9000 Plus, Ken, John, Jazz. Thank you guys so much for the shout out that you guys gave me on your Aladdin spoiler review of the live action new Aladdin. I do really appreciate that and I really enjoyed your review. And I just wanted to give a big shout out to them once again. That we've been collabing a little bit, giving each other shout outs, and they're really awesome people. They love to do spoiler reviews. They really do a great job of breaking it down and just being cool people that really love to talk about movies. So I'm going to leave their link down in the description box below. Definitely go give them some love, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this review. So once again, big thanks to everybody who went to my Instagram story poll and voted for this as my next review. If you are not currently following me on Instagram, go to the link in my description box. You can follow the Instagram. I do polls for upcoming reviews that are not the new ones. And yeah, just thanks again for all of you who went ahead and joined this poll. So Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, this is the sequel to Jurassic World. It is the 5th film in the Jurassic Park franchise. And if you watched my review for Jurassic World, you know that I gave that movie a really high recommendation, and I really enjoyed that film. I felt like it was just a perfect way to bring back Jurassic Park, give it a whole new fresh vibe and feeling, while also feeling very much like Jurassic Park. Every time I throw on Jurassic World, it's just a great time. It's a great popcorn flick, really great blockbuster, a lot of great action, some great dinosaur moments. And again, they kind of expanded the lore a little bit, took it in some different directions. Some things feel very similar to some of the original films, but that's okay with me. Like, it doesn't really feel like it tries to retread the same thing. I really enjoyed that film. So leading up to this movie, I was really excited. I love Chris Pratt, I love Bryce Dallas Howard, and I just love Jurassic Park. If you remember from my previous reviews, and if you have not seen those, I recommend going to the playlist section of my channel and going to check out the Jurassic Park playlist section, and you can find all my reviews right there. So this will be the last one up until the next one. But yeah, if you've seen my other reviews, you know that I really love Jurassic Park. I talked about how just important it was to me in my life, and just in my upbringing. As a kid, I wanted to be a paleontologist, and I just always loved Jurassic Park. As a kid, I just loved dinosaurs, and I just love these films so much, even for their flaws. Now, with all of that said, this is easily my least favorite Jurassic Park film, and it breaks my heart to say that. Before, The Lost World was my least favorite Jurassic Park film, and this one, just for me, was the first time that I ever actually walked out of a Jurassic Park film and just kind of had a kind of reaction to it. You know, I do enjoy a lot about this movie, and I've seen it many times since. I recently got it on a really good deal for like $2 on Blu-ray and digital, which was really nice. So I have been watching it again recently, and I tried to get some different thoughts on it. And what I could say about this movie right out of the gate as far as positives is I really do enjoy the performances in this movie. Nobody gives necessarily a bad performance. Nobody's like a bad actor in this film. You have Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard reprising their roles from Jurassic World. You have Jeff Goldblum returning as Ian Malcolm, which I have to say right out of the gate is one of my most disappointing elements of the film, because he's fantastic in the role and it's awesome to see him again. And the marketing really, you know, at least I feel like they sold that he's going to be in the film to some extent, and he is, but really what you saw in the trailer is really all that he is in this film. He's not in the film very much. It's very short, very brief. It is nice to see him in the film. As a fan of the series, it's hard to dislike the time that he has on screen, but I just wish they would have given us a little bit more. It feels like they kind of cheated us out of, you know, coming to the theater because we see him in the trailer, and then you go and see the movie and he's not in it. He's in it for maybe a max of like 5 minutes of screen time. And so that's really heartbreaking for me, because Ian Malcolm is one of my favorite characters of all cinema. But yeah, I just really wish that Jeff Goldblum would have been in the film a little bit more. It was really disappointing to just see him come in so briefly and just like literally have it been just the trailer shots for the most part. It just felt like, man, they really missed an opportunity to have such a great character be a part of these films. And I've just really wanted these older characters to be a part of these films already. Like, I would love to see Sam Neill reprise his role as Alan Grant. That would literally be my highest fan craving as far as this franchise goes. You know, I'm not the kind of fan who feels like I need this to be in there, or my expectations and my feelings on the film are completely ruined. But I would love to see some of these old characters reprise their roles in this franchise, since it is a continuation and it's not, you know, a whole rebooted new series. And outside of Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, you also have Justice Smith in this film, who was recently in the Pokemon Detective Pikachu movie. And if you saw my review for that, I really gave him, you know, pretty good praise in that film. I think he did a pretty solid job. I enjoyed him in the film. Whereas in this film, I wasn't the biggest fan of him the first time I saw the movie. He has kind of grown on me the more times I've watched it. There is some humor that kind of lands with me a little bit more, but he just does seem that like a bit of an annoying character. He wasn't given much to do in this film other than be the guy who screams from dinosaurs and is running around and is just like the guy who screams at the top of his lungs and is just crying the entire time every time he sees a big dinosaur. and you know, it could be funny, it could be used to a humorous degree, but when you have the narrative that's set up in this film, it just, you can't help but feel like, why is this character in this situation at all? Like, why would they bring somebody like this to the situation? You know, he already seemed fearful and cowardly prior to being there. You know, they do have their reasons for why he is there. You know, I won't act like as if he's just there for no reason whatsoever, but it just feels like they could have written in a more useful or more entertaining character overall. But you know, the more I have watched the film, I have grown to enjoy Justice Smith's performance for what it is. I just wish that his character would have felt a little bit more useful and, you know, had more to do. Now, my biggest praises that I'll give this film right out of the gate are that, like I said, the performances are solid. Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard give good performances. Nobody here is giving a crappy performance. There's a few moments from Bryce Dallas Howard specifically where it feels like she's overacting just a little bit. But it's not like much. I still really enjoy her as an actress, and same with Chris Pratt, and I think that the two of them do a good job of acting this film. Outside of that, my other big positives would be that the special effects really look good. I wish, again, like I mentioned in my Jurassic World review, that this current iteration of Jurassic Park would use practical effects a little bit more than they have been. They haven't really been using practical effects very much. Majority of the dinosaurs have been CGI. So it's a little disappointing when it comes to the special effects because, you know, when you think about the original trilogy, specifically the first movie, practical effects were such a big part of what made Jurassic Park Jurassic Park. So it was a little disappointing to just see another movie that uses CG so heavily when we already know that they can make dinosaurs look so awesome with these animatronics, and they just aren't doing it, you know? But with that said, I do enjoy the CGI on the dinosaurs. There's a lot of really great shots in this film. The opening shot of this film is really awesome. I remember leading up to this film that people were kind of giving me some negative feedback on the film. I was really disappointed to hear that. And then when I sat down and watched it for the first time, that whole opening intro all the way into the title card that actually says the title of the film, I was into it. I thought, man, there's no way this film is going to be bad. Like, there's no way this film is going to be negative or even lackluster, as some people were saying. And so right out of the gate, that first opening intro, everything that was happening, I just loved the way it was shot. I liked the dimness of it, the grit, the darkness. I really did enjoy how those scenes were shot. And for the most part, what I could say is the cinematography in this film is just something that I can eat up a lot. It's just got visuals that I could just soak up, and I really do enjoy the look and the feel of this film, the camera work. All of that for me is really, really solid in this film, as well as all the CGI and the special effects overall. Like, I'm able to just really buy into it and just see a bunch of dinosaurs running around. And I really, really enjoy the way this film feels, looks, and just the overall tone of it. I think they did a really good job with just the overall aesthetic of this film. Outside of that, I really do have to commend them for some really ambitious story beats and really just taking Jurassic Park into a different direction with a few things. It's really gonna just be a hit or miss with some people. There's going to be certain elements in this plot and certain moments that come in the story later on, specifically a big reveal at the end of the film, that you're either going to be really about or you're really just not going to be about. And if you know anything about what they initially planned on doing with the first Jurassic World, you know, I won't really get into that because it would kind of spoil some stuff for this film if you haven't seen it, but the original concept was a bit wacky, and I'm glad they didn't do that, but they kind of touch on that in this film a little bit. And so you know, it's a thing where it's like either you're gonna like it or you're not gonna like it. I don't hate it. I thought it was fine. I think it's cool, and I'm interested in seeing where they take it with the next film. But yeah, I do have to praise them for some ambitious story decisions and trying to take things in a new direction and expand the lore of Jurassic Park. You know, you can't do the same thing over and over and over again, even though in a lot of ways this film is very much like The Lost World in Jurassic Park 2. There's a lot of really similar shots and story beats that they were definitely taking from. There's even a few recreations of shots from the first Jurassic Park in this film. So they definitely, more so than Jurassic World, I feel, this film definitely tried to take certain scenes and shots that are iconic from the other films and kind of replicate them in a way. So that's either gonna, again, be a hit or miss for certain people. But for me, I did enjoy it, and I don't think that it was, you know, something that really took away from the film for me. Now, where my overall feelings on this film lie are more on the negative side, and the reason for that is not having to do anything with the performances, the look and the feel of the film, the action. I think all of that is well done. I'm not necessarily bored fully when I watch this movie, but there is just a lot of just unnecessary dialogue in this film. There's a lot of really silly and dumb dialogue in this film. You also have a lot of just unnecessary new characters in this film that just feel like a waste of screen time and a waste of time. There are characters that I really enjoyed from Jurassic World who do not reprise their role in this film, and there's characters that are brand new in this film that just feel pointless, and I really wish that they hadn't been there. When I watched the first Jurassic World, what I really enjoyed about that film is that for the most part, all the new characters they introduced, I enjoyed, and the more I've rewatched the film, I've grown to enjoy them for that role that they played in that film. and I enjoy the overall aesthetic and feel of that film too. And so with this one, you have everything right as far as the visuals for me, but the story is just lacking. It's a bit lackluster. They have a lot of really interesting story beats and things that are a lot stronger than other things, but the overall cohesive narrative just kind of doesn't feel as strong and memorable as the other Jurassic Park films do. You also, I just have a lot of dialogue that just doesn't work for me and doesn't really make sense for the characters that are written in the film. A perfect example is you have this girl in the film, I really can't even remember her name right now, but she's a paleo veterinarian, I believe she is, and she's never seen a dinosaur before, but she's been studying dinosaurs her whole life. They set her up as somebody who can medically work on dinosaurs and just has a deep just desire and passion for dinosaurs and has been studying them in the States for years, and she's never seen one. And so in this film, number one, she does do medical stuff on dinosaurs, and sure, maybe it translates with working with other animals, but sometimes I found that a little hard to believe, where it's like she was just instantly like, oh, I can work on this dinosaur, I know exactly what to do. And it just feels like you've never seen one. You don't even know how they're going to react to certain things you're doing. You don't even know what kind of sedation you really need to use. Like, you personally, as a medical physician of dinosaurs, don't know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, and she says she does, and so you just kind of have to buy into it. But then there's a scene pretty early on in the film when they first get to the island where she sees a dinosaur for the first time, and it's supposed to be similar to that first time they see dinosaurs in the first Jurassic Park, where there's just that awe-inspiring moment where it's just like, wow, like, oh my God, the beauty of these magnificent creatures. And I would say that the scene conveys that for the most part. But what really doesn't make sense to me when it comes to that character in that moment is that she looks at the dinosaur and she goes, I never thought I'd actually see one. But then it's like, number one, you came on this trip to see dinosaurs, so obviously you knew you'd see one. Sure, you could say, okay, well, she just felt like she'd never see one in general. But at the same time, you've been studying dinosaurs your whole life. She's like maybe she's somewhere in her 20s, this character. She's been studying dinosaurs her whole life in a world that has had dinosaurs on the earth for at least the last 2 to 3 decades. It just doesn't make any sense to me that she would feel like she would never have seen a dinosaur before, though she's able to study dinosaurs and dinosaur medicine in a world where dinosaurs exist, where you could have taken a vacation just a few years prior to the events of Jurassic World and gone and seen a dinosaur. It just didn't really, again, it just felt like the writing for me just felt a little like, and that may seem nitpicky, but the whole film feels like that, where the characters just don't feel aligned with the kind of character that they're written to be. Outside of the kid played by Justice Smith, who's just screaming, he's probably the most like in tone of who his character is. Outside of that, you have Chris Pratt in this film, who in this movie doesn't give a rat's ass about any of the dinosaurs at all, even though in the last film he talked about them so passionately, about them being animals that they need to be, taken care of, that they need to have a bond, that all these kinds of different things, especially when it came to his raptors. And by the end of the film, he has a really nice, beautiful connection with the character Blue, the raptor Blue from the first film. And in this film, the basic premise is that the island that the dinosaurs are on is going to explode. The volcano is going to blow them up, and there's this whole government conversation of whether they should go in there and save the dinosaurs or if they should not. And Bryce Dallas Howard's character, who in the last film didn't give two shits about the dinosaurs, is now a leader of some activist group that wants to save dinosaurs. Now, I enjoyed that. I thought it was cool, the fact that, after the events of the first film, she grew a greater appreciation for the dinosaurs and wanted to go, and save them now, right? So that's awesome. I think that's really cool. It shows her growth as a character. Whereas in this film, Chris Pratt's character, who raised these dinosaurs, even though they do mention this as a part of the story, he doesn't give two rats ass if they all die. Like, it's just like, if the dinosaurs die after I took care of them and I was there to, I spent years of my life training them and learning about these animals and being an expert about them, yeah, who cares? They can just die. It just didn't feel in tone with his character in the first film. And that's the biggest thing, is the characters don't feel like the same characters from the first film. That's one thing for the characters to have progressed and changed, but the writing for them just does not seem similar at all as for the kind of characters that they are. And one thing that I really disliked that they did in this movie, and it just felt like we're, retreading something here a little bit, was that at the beginning of this film, Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's characters, they split up. They split up between the events of the last Jurassic World and this Jurassic World. And, they kind of had a little bit of a falling out. And really, it just has no real meaning in the story. What's the point of them having had some falling out? For me, it just felt like it took away from everything that happened at the end of the first film, and for them to have split up in between the films, and then this film for them to just do the will they, won't they, the entire film again, just for them to eventually do the, they end up, getting together again at the end of the film. It's just like, what's the point of having separated them? If number one, the dialogue, outside of a couple moments, there's really no deep connection or deep rooted moments where these characters are having dialogue about what happened, why they split, and how this betters and grows their relationship. It's just another adventure that they bicker on, and then eventually by the end of the film they realize they still have a thing for each other. And it just feels like there was no reason to have separated them and have kind of ruined the ending of the first film, and then at the same time just have this will they won't they the entire film all over again. I feel like it just took away from the meat and potatoes of their characters. But yeah, guys, aside of all that, I do recommend this film. I do enjoy the way the movie looks. I do enjoy the feel, the action, the vibe. The performances are fine. The characters just don't feel the same as they did in the last one. And I'm not saying they have to feel the same. There needs to be progression and growth, but they just don't feel like the same characters. And the things that one of them will care about that they didn't care about in the last one, and one that one will completely not care about that they did care about heavily in the last one, just doesn't really feel in tone with the characters that they were. And it just feels a little bit like we didn't get to see why, or any reason really as to why they don't care anymore or why they care so much, so it just something like I guess you can call as a nitpick, but for me it just took away from the overall enjoyment of the characters. And outside of that, the whole narrative just isn't super strong. There isn't something to really grip onto. There are really strong action moments and some really great special effects moments and some big action set pieces, but this one just feels a little bit more cartoony than the other ones, which depending on the movie isn't a bad thing for me. But with this film, it just doesn't feel like the strongest Jurassic Park film. But I do enjoy it. I still do have a good time with it. I'm glad it's in my Blu-ray collection, and I am happy to be reviewing it. It is disappointing that it was the first Jurassic Park film that kind of just left me a little bit feeling lackluster about it, and it's just, it's heartbreaking to say that because I really do enjoy this franchise. And there's a lot about this film that I do enjoy. And when I do think about this movie, I think about the action. I think about the special effects. I think about the action. But I don't really think about the character moments, and I don't really think about the story per se. A lot of the characters, like, again, are just unnecessary. Feel that they're just there to be there. Some of the jokes just don't land. And the story is just definitely the weakest in this film, I think, compared to any other Jurassic Park film. But that is going to be my review, guys. Thank you so much. Let me know what you thought down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you not like it at all? Did you really love it? All those kind of things I want to know. How did you feel when you walked out of the film for the first time? All that jazz. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It would really support my channel. If you enjoyed this video, I do really appreciate that. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon next to subscribe so you can be notified the next time I post another video. Make sure you guys hit that link down below in the description box for my Instagram so you can follow me there and you can keep up with the next story poll, so you can be a part of voting for the next review that I will be posting. So thank you guys so much again for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!